Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Kumranitsky and my assignment was on returning a bowel sounds indicating an end of post-operative ileus. Is it time to cease this long-standing nursing tradition? And the study was written by Robert Massey. So the significance of the problem. The problem is in standard of practice, we are using auscultation of bowel sounds as an indicator that POI has resolved. Now, what is POI? So POI is a buildup of fluid and air and gas in the gastrointestinal tract, and this causes GI dysmotility. It is a significant problem. Clinicians, nurses, we're all using this as a primary assessment that post-operative ileus has been terminated. And the thing is, there's no good evidence-based practice that auscultation actually shows that POI has actually resolved. It's significant in nursing practice because, we've been listening to bowel sounds as an assessment for POI since the 1900s, and that's kind of concerning that we haven't developed any other type of practices, which this study does go over that there are better indicators in using for the resolution of POI, which is like the absence of nausea, vomiting, make sure there's no abdominal distension. Like using a cluster of symptoms is better than the actual auscultation of bowel sounds by itself. It's also significant because it is very costly. These patients are in the hospital 7 to 8 days and is costing hospitals billions of dollars. And then also, like, if nurses are listening to these bowel sounds and POI really hasn't resolved, it could cause maybe complications later on after post-op, and then cause even more money and then more pain and discomfort in these patients. So the purpose of the study, there was two purposes. The first purpose was the efficacy correlation of using a rocking chair and the duration of POI symptoms. The second aim of the study was if there was an association of the time when the first bowel sound was heard with the time of the first flatus. Conceptual model was noted in the study. It was called the ILA model of evidence-based practice, and examined the data and the actual clinical practice to conclude whether or not auscultation of abdominal sounds was a reliable indicator for the return of GI motility and therefore ending of POI. The theoretical framework was not mentioned in the study, but one can concur that the study was based off of practice theory. Practice theory, just to review, is developed of nursing practice in specific populations and in narrow scope. And with this study, it's a very specific population. It is within digestive patients who have cancer. Patient participant rights, they had their rights. There was approval obtained from the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center Institutional Review Board prior to the implementation of this study. Patients were able to, they signed consent forms, they were able to ask questions prior to surgery, they were explained what the purpose of the study was for, which is good. The patient rights were protected. The research design, so there's two groups, and we only did a post-test study because we're not going to look at the pre-test. We want to see what happened after the surgery. That's our main goal. The population of these people, so they're patients with digestive symptom cancers, and they were scheduled for abdominal surgery that day. And the inclusions of these patients were they had to speak English, they had to be cognitively intact, they had to ambulate, they were able to sit in a chair, sit in a rocking chair. They were able to receive like a patient-controlled IV and also an epidural analgesic. Exclusions of the population was everything that I didn't say earlier. So the randomized sample, so it was 66 patients. They were randomly selected. There was two groups, a control group, which was 32 people, the non-rocking chair group, and that was the standard of care. The experimental group was made up of 34 people, that was the rocking chair group, and they were the non-standard of care. This took place in a Southwestern Cancer Center, the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. So the interventions and variables. The independent variable is the intervention. So the intervention was clearly defined in the study. It was the rocking chair therapy. But conceptually, it could be defined as, so a rocking chair is a chair that rocks back and forth. Operationally, it can be defined as the rocking chair was used for 10 to 20 minute sessions for at least 1 hour per day, and the patient also ambulated, and this went on until the first flatus. The dependent variable was to reduce the duration of the POI in patients who are recovering from abdominal surgery. So conceptually, POI can be defined as gas and fluid buildup in the GI tract that could cause GI dysmotility. And operationally, it's the passage of the first post-op flatus, the return of bowel movement, resolution of cluster symptoms, which can include abdominal distension, nausea, vomiting, and they have a diet tolerance. So data collection. The primary investigator had seen these patients every single day in the morning, and he wrote down all his findings on a spreadsheet. He would auscultate each of the 4 quadrants for 5 minutes, and he would review at the patient's charts to see what these nurses and clinicians were documenting. He was trying to see if they were documenting if the patient had a flatus, when it happened, the day and time, if they heard bowel sounds, when that happened, the day and time, and even know the doctors and the nurses, if they did document that they had the flatus or bowel sounds were present. He still went in there, he still did his assessments. Measurements of the study. So there is no statistically significance between to the first bowel sound between the non-rocking chair and the rocking chair. There is no difference between them using a rocking chair therapy and a regular chair therapy. The correlation between the time of the first flatus and the return of bowel sounds for the combination groups was not significant either. The reliability, so Cronenbach alpha's number was 0.231, which shows the test is not reliable. A reliable test would be closer to +1, and we are very far off. The validity of the criteria related to the study and the instruments used in the study was not well measured. The instruments were built on this study. There was no past evidence-based, whether it was used in past studies. It seemed like they built these instruments specifically for the study only. Limitations and findings. So the study can conclude that auscultation of bowel sounds is not a reliable indicator of the resolution of POI. The return of bowel sounds were not associated with the first flatus, and there's no significant difference between a rocking chair therapy and a standard care therapy, which is just a normal chair. Limitations, there is a lack of research comparing the rocking chair therapy as an indicator for the resolution of the POI, and also a lack of literature regarding the return of bowel sounds being a specific indicator for the resolution of POI. Also, it was not noted, are these patients taking, what type of medications are they on? Are they on narcotics? Are they on a high fiber diet? Implications for practice. So according to Massey, using auscultation of bowel sounds is not a good indicator in practice. Evidence-based research has shown that nurses and clinicians should be using a cluster of symptoms. And these symptoms include no longer abdominal distension, no longer of nausea and vomiting, and being able to tolerate a diet. These type of indicators should be implemented in practice when assessing the resolution of POI. Thank you.